Hey everybody, welcome to Hickory Ridge Livestream, our premiere performance. I'm Chris Valillo, your host, and of course I'm coming to you from my studio here in Macomb, Illinois, not the Dixon Mounds Museum Auditorium like we normally do. Now, as you know, COVID has shut us out of the museum, and sadly it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get there anytime in the foreseeable future. So with that in mind, I have spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to bring Hickory Ridge concerts to you live, but with guests. So today, this is our premiere performance. Now, the goal tonight is to make the experience as close as possible to our normal show. So I'll start off the show as usual. I'll do a song. I'll bring in our headline performers. Tonight, they're going to be in Minneapolis, but through the magic of the internet, we'll bring them right to you here. Now, we will have them perform a set after we talk a little bit, and then we're going to end up the show with pie and dessert. We will share some time together. We'll all enjoy pie, by the way. This is mine. I have a beautiful gooseberry pie made by my wife, Dory, one of the great pie bakers of the Midwest. So, unfortunately, I can't bring pie to all of you, but I hope you've had a chance to arrange for some sort of dessert on your own. Now, we're going to be bringing on our guests here in just a minute, but I want to start out actually with a little piece that was going to be the theme song of the show. It goes like this. All right, short and sweet. It's an original piece I've been working on called The Cliche Rag. Now, as always, I like to start out with a song. And our guests, Curtis and Loretta, are longtime friends of the show. And I promised Curtis I would play my Larson guitar if he would play a guitar that he had. A guitar he got from me years and years ago. So since we are heading into the autumn, I thought I would take this beautiful Larson 551 guitar built up in Chicago in the early 1900s and use it to perform a song of harvest, which is the season we are just heading into. This is a song that dates back to one of my earliest recordings and back to my recording The Last Day of Winter. This is Silhouette Against the Stars. Feel the frost on the ground, see the afterglow of sunset settle down as it turns from dusk to dark on the prairie tonight. By the giant trees in peeling shades of white, the old farmhouse, it stands, silhouette against the stars on a chill November night. Hear the howling of the hounds as they call across the fields, and the combines rumbling down the rows. The corn is in, it's time to count the yields. By the strength of their hands, through the generations they have worked these lands, from the fathers to the sons, and on it goes. Just as surely as the river flows and another harvest comes, silhouette against the stars on a chill November night. Hear the howling of the hounds as they call across the fields, and the combines rumbling down the rows. The corn is in, it's time to count the yields. and the grain trucks roll by with their mounds of yellow corn piled high. To the elevators and the fields they're bound, and with every bump it showers to the ground, till the roads are lined with gold. Silhouette against the stars on a chill November night, hear the howling of the hounds as they call across the fields, and the combines rumbling down the rows the corn is in. It's time to count the yields. Now the fields lie in sleep through the weary months of winter, cold and deep, beneath the frozen waves of drifted snow, till the balmy winds of spring begin to blow, and the cycle starts anew. There you go. Silhouette against the stars. Now, let me take a moment to tell you a little bit more about the series. We will continue as normal, third Saturday of the month, all year long. We will continue at 7 o'clock in the evening. I'm not going to add a ticket element to this at the moment because it's hard enough dealing with the technology to make this happen. So there is a donation link at the description section of whatever platform you're looking at. And you can simply make a PayPal donation that goes directly to Hickory Ridge Concerts. If you are in a position to do so, we're delighted to have whatever support you can afford. If times are tough right now, and Lord knows they are for many of us, don't worry about it. It's more important you are here with us than it is for us to take your money. All right. Now, I'd like to bring on our headline performers right now. They are from Minneapolis, Minnesota. They are friends of the series and have performed for Hickory Ridge Concerts and Music at the Museum, by the way, probably a half a dozen times over the years. They bring a wonderful collection of instruments: Celtic harp, guitar, claw hammer banjo, mandocello, all sorts of instruments in a delightful combination of old-time, early 20th century material and beautiful original songs. Friends, please join me in welcoming my friends, Curtis and Loretta. Let's bring them in. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Oops.
There you are.
Hey, Chris. Nice to see everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our first time out, and there are going to be a few warts. So if things go a little odd, don't worry about it. But we're so glad to have you here. And boy, Curtis and Loretta, so nice to have you with us.
It's a real treat for us. Yeah.
Yeah. I mentioned at the beginning that I was playing the Larson guitar because Curtis will theoretically later play a guitar in this show that he got from me many, many years ago. We'll let him talk about that when the time comes. But let me just start out by asking you, how are you guys doing? Are you surviving our current situation?
Well, it's a learning experience. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
We're doing fine. We're hanging in there. We're persevering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And learning a
know
lot. Yeah.
You're one of the first people that I saw do a socially distanced outdoor concert, which was pretty remarkable to see. Because I think you were doing that, July maybe?
We did one in July and one at the end of August. Yeah. And
Yeah.
It felt okay. People were really far away. And Curtis and I are married to each other, so we can be next to each other.
Yeah.
And
But everyone else was far
if
away.
all the components, come together, the landscape, works with it, it can work. But it's kind of, it just doesn't work everywhere.
No. But based on your situation, I kind of got up the nerve and I took a booking in Michigan to do a socially distanced parking lot concert. And so I was in the end of a building, but performing to an outdoor parking lot where they had different sections of people socially distanced. And then behind that, rows of parked cars. And the real fun was that when you finished the song, the cars, folks would clap, but the cars would honk their horns.
Did they honk for clapping? That's pretty cool.
They did.
A drive-in
I
concert.
really enjoyed that.
A drive-in
Yeah.
concert.
Chris Valillo, the drive-in movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
Well, hey, you started it all. So I know you have a wide range of musical instruments, and for those of you that aren't aware of this, and I can't imagine many of you aren't, Curtis and I are competing to own the most cool guitars in the world. So far, I
Yeah.
think he's beating me.
Well,
But
I
we
got
both love old guitars
Yes, we do.
and musical instruments of all kinds. I know some folks are going to ask about that very large mandolin you are holding.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, actually, I'm just a really petite fellow. And this is, well, okay, this is part of the mandolin orchestras that were prevalent, right around 1900 up and through into the 20s. All of the parts corresponded with the violin family. So you had a mandolin, like you see a lot still these
Sure.
days,
Yeah.
tuned like a violin, and a mandola, a little bit bigger, tuned like a viola, and this is a mandocello here. So this was the big one.
Yeah,
Yep.
tuned like a
Strum
boat
that and
cello.
let folks hear what that sounds like when you,
Yeah.
because you're going to play it with Loretta. Yeah,
My
it's kind
low
of
notes are her low notes. Yeah.
yeah, it's very
Big
much like a
strings,
bass mandolin.
Takes a
Yeah.
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 They made mando basses. You ever had one?
No, I know, but you know what? There's a guy I know that has one, and I'm going to get a chance to work on it. I think there were only like
Oh, good.
200 of them ever built.
Oh, I don't know.
there's a
I've had-
mandolin
I've
orchestra.
Had 3.
You've had 3?
Yeah.
He doesn't have one anymore. We have
Yeah.
a small
One
house.
was a Kalamazoo, but you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but still, very cool.
We have a
Well,
small
listen.
house. You gotta draw the line somewhere.
They're 5
Yeah.
feet tall, 4 feet wide. I left one at my mom's house for like 4 years once.
Fine
You
woman.
got to
your
be
mom.
nice to your mom.
Yes, indeed, especially when she has your mandolas or your mando bass.
Yeah.
Mando bass, yeah.
Yeah.
She was
Well,
happy.
listen, let's.
Yeah, she was happy to get it out of there though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Well, let's turn you guys loose.
All right.
And again, so folks know what we're going to do now. Curtis and Loretta are going to do about a 45-minute set. While we are doing that, I'll get off screen and I'll switch to the comments section. We'd love to hear your comments. Let us know how this sounds. Let us know how this looks. And then if you want to send some questions for Curtis and Loretta after their set, we'll come back and we'll visit with them, have dessert, and pose your questions. But in the meantime, let's bring them on. Friends,
All right.
please join me in welcoming from Minneapolis, Minnesota, my friends, Curtis and Loretta.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Well, normally I would say it's nice to see you, but I'm squinting my eyes. So it's nice to be with you.
We
know?
can see ourselves on the computer. It's a whole new world just playing to yourself
really
on the
is.
screen.
We're learning all kinds of things. There's always, positive things, but we wish Godspeed to all of you getting through this time. And it's a kind of a hard time, but I know a lot of you are musicians, and I think that it's really an important time for the kind of music that we play, this acoustic music. I think it's, I think we can do a lot of good. It's almost, it's time to share your
Almost
music.
therapeutic, really.
Yeah.
And Curtis will play the mandocello, and I'll play the Celtic harp on this one. This is one I wrote. It's a new one called "Beauty of the Song." 1, 2, 3, 4. Will you miss me when I'm gone? Will you sometimes sing my songs? Oh, will they pass on through like hard-working migrants who have done the job and then seem to vanish like the wind? They say vibrations never end once they're sent, and so I pray the words I write are worthy of the ride. All these tools that I forged were gifted to me by and large. I gathered truth from the world and waved it like a flag unfurled. I stitched together words from the pictures that I heard. They say vibrations never end once they're sent. And so I pray the words I write are worthy of the ride. I will miss you when I'm gone, for I love to sing you songs. If my words spoke to you, or somehow they helped you through, please pass that tool along. That's the beauty of the song. They say vibrations never end once they're sent, and so I pray the words I write are worthy of the ride. If my words spoke to you, or somehow they helped you through, please pass that tool along. That's the beauty of the song. That's the duty of the song. Beauty of the song. Duty of the song.
The duty of a song.
I call it beauty of the song. He calls it duty of the song.
The duty is in the words as well.
It's both. It's both.
But really these old songs, they really are like tools. They
Yeah.
really are. Different songs really can affect, your life and other people's lives as well. So we, it's almost like we're almost obligated as musicians to go out and spread some love right now through music.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We have, we play brand new songs you've never heard before, but we've always been so inspired by traditional music. And since we're from Minnesota, we'll do a 150-plus-year-old song by a Minnesotan. I don't know if you've ever been to Wilmer, Minnesota.
I've been there.
Yeah. Well, it was founded by the Hutchinsons, not Wilmer. I'm sorry, I got the wrong town. Hutchinson, Minnesota. Something flashed on our screen. We're trying to see what it says. Oh, that Curtis, he sure is cute.
Good. I think it's just a comment on there. I
Oh,
shouldn't say
good,
just,
good.
but we're too far away from the computer to read the
So
comments.
if you comment, well,
yeah.
hopefully
So,
it's good.
Hutchinson, Minnesota is where this family, the Hutchinsons,
They were like
were singing-
rock stars of the 1850s.
yeah, singing family. They traveled all over the United States. They also founded the town of Hutchinson in 1855?
Singing Swiss families
Yeah.
were the big deal back then. They founded the town of Hutchinson, and they gave women, or I shouldn't say they
Give it
gave.
to them.
Women had the right to vote in Hutchinson, Minnesota, in 1850.
I think they all got together and the women said, "Well, we're voting, so there you go."
Yeah, right.
So anyway,
Makes sense to me.
Jesse Hutchinson Jr. wrote the lyrics for this song and set it to an old
We
traditional
generally
Irish
kind
song.
of, avoid political things. We really try to find songs and things that unite people, but it's really hard to be totally unpolitical right now. So we found this song. We think it's like a bipartisan campaign song. So we'll play it.
If that could be possible, this is it.
Hurrah for the choice of the nation, our hero so brave and so true. We'll go for the great Reformation, for Lincoln and liberty too. We'll go for the son of Kentucky, the hero of Hoosierdom through. The pride of the suckers so lucky, for Lincoln and liberty too. We'll find what by felling and mauling our railmaker statesmen can do. For the people are everywhere calling for Lincoln and liberty too. And up with the banners so glorious, the star-spangled red, white, and blue. We'll fight till our banner's victorious, for could sling his unerring, the slave-ocrat's giant he slew. He'll shout for the freedom, preferring for Lincoln and liberty too. We'll go for the son of Kentucky, the hero of Hoosierdom through. The pride of the suckers so lucky, for Lincoln and liberty too. And up with the banner so glorious, the star-spangled red, white, and blue. We'll fight till our banner's victorious, for Lincoln and liberty too. For Lincoln and liberty too.
Vote Lincoln. Wouldn't that
Right
be great?
on.
Wouldn't that be great to vote for Lincoln? I want to just say, because we're coming from Chris's home state of Illinois, that there's a reference in there to suckers, calling the people of Illinois suckers. But in this instance, it's a good thing. It's a nickname. It was a nickname for people from Illinois. And I understand it referred to the town of Galena up in northwestern Illinois. There were so many men walking to and from the mines the beginning and end of the day, going to work at the mines, that they looked like fish swimming upstream, like suckers. So it's a good thing to be from Illinois, the land of Lincoln. So should we do
another one of
another?
yours, yeah.
All right. We're going to do one that I wrote a while ago, and I just want to talk a little bit about the harp. This is a Celtic harp or a folk harp. It's fashioned after the type of harps they play in Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. You can see it's a little bit smaller, and the other difference is you can't see the bottom of it on the screen, but I don't have any pedals on the bottom. The big concert harps have pedals, and those are to change the key you're playing in. And instead of pedals, I have at the top of each string, I have levers, and they're sharping levers. I can sharp each string a half step. So after this song, I'm going to get in a different key. You'll see me flipping those levers. That's what I'm doing up there. But right now I'm in the key of D, and we're going to do a song I wrote called Lift the World.
I think this is a beautiful song for these times. Yeah.
Yeah, it does fit this time. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. 1, 2, 3, 4. All my gold may slip away and my karma come to pay. I might just wake up someday and see the bit part that I play. But when the day is all through, nothing more that I can do. One thing I have learned is true. I turn, and there it's always you. You lift the world from my shoulders, spin it gently, turn it over. You set it down out of the way, just like a dream, the world fades away. Just like a dream, the world fades away. I may travel near and far, sail the seas to Zanzibar. I might just walk out the door and be content in my backyard. But when the miles are said and done, when the races are all run, I meet you in the setting sun, and from there we walk as one. You lift the world from my shoulders, spin it gently, turn it over. You set it down out of the way, just like a dream, the world fades away. Just like a dream, the world fades away. Trials may come to torment me, break right in without a key. They may all demand to be my eternal destiny. But when the worries and the cares get too much for me to bear, You look each one in the eyes just like that. You cut them down to size. You lift the world from my shoulders, spin it gently, turn it over. You set it down out of the way. Just like a dream, the world fades away. 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 Lift the world. All right, should we
You know, this is
Do a
just
traditional?
real different. We do miss you. You know,
I know.
I can just feel you out there. You know, I mean, I know you're there. This is a lot like doing a radio show, but we do miss you and the beautiful, you know,
Dixon Mound Museum.
Oh,
They're in
yeah.
Lewistown, Illinois.
But we know you're out there. We can feel you. But you know, so much of playing this kind of music is an exchange of energy between the audience and stuff. You know, it's very different. But we love you. We'll play another traditional song
Yep.
for
This
you
is
here.
a traditional Irish song.
I think this one is very, very good for these days. It's one of my favorite old Irish songs, and it's called "A Health to the Company." And I have heard that this was written in the early 19th century for the, what was it, the East Indian Trade Company. Something you guys will know the name of it better. And it was like a good night song, and it literally meant a health to the company. You know, the company where everybody worked, and that applies today. Some of our companies certainly could use a health, but we've always, and that's what I like about old ballads, is they're open to interpretation. And I've always felt when we sing it, we're singing it for you, our good company. You know, because we wish you prosperity, absolutely, and we wish you happiness, but above all, we wish you good health.
Good health. Good health.
So good health to you all. Here's a health to the company and one to my lass. Let us drink and be merry, all out of one glass. Let us drink and be merry, all grief to refrain. Or we may all might never all meet her again. Kind friends and companions, come join in my rhyme, and lift up your voices in chorus with mine. Come drink and be merry, all grief to refrain, or we may all might never all meet her again. Health to the company and one to my lass. Let us drink and be merry, all out of one glass. Let us drink and be merry, all grief to refrain, or we may all might never all meet her again.
Our ship lies in harbor, she's ready to sail. I wish her safe passage past doldrums and gales. And if e'er we should meet again on land or on sea, I will always remember your kindness to me.
So here's a health to the company and one to my lass. Let us drink and be merry, all out of one glass. Let us drink and be merry, all grief to refrain, for we may all might never all meet her again. may falter, my wit it might fail.
My course may be challenged by November gales.
Ere fortune shall prove to be friend or be foe,
You will always be with me wherever I go.
Health to you all.
Here's a health to the company and one to my lass. Let us drink and be merry all out of one glass. Let us drink and be merry, all the reef to refrain. Oh, we may all might never all meet here again. Oh yeah, a health to everyone. Well, I'm going to set the harp aside and get something else.
Yes, indeed. We'll
And
get out a
then-
couple of guitars.
Yeah, so don't go away.
And when she gets here, I'm going to readjust her microphone, being the servant that I am. So I'm going to get out this guitar, this previously spoken of guitar. I don't know.
He'll have to tell you the story of it.
I took me a year. I mean, I saw this. We spent the night.
At Chris Valillo's.
Yes.
In
2030,
Illinois.
I don't know, it was a long time
Months,
ago.
many
gosh.
years ago.
Many years ago, decades ago, and in this beautiful Victorian room, probably about the first time we met him, and sitting, just leaning in a chair in that bedroom was this guitar, the Peach.
Oh, he's gonna. No, I was not talking about the one I have. We'll tell you about that
Oh.
later. But it's the one that he's gonna grab there. There you go. Oh, I'm gonna move over a little so we don't know.
Now this is a Chicago-made
other.
guitar from the early 19th century and 20th century, excuse me, and of course Chicago was like one of the major musical instrument producing and innovation centers of the world back then. And the one he was playing was, there were these very wonderful, a bit obscure guitars called Larson Brothers, built by a couple of Swedish immigrant luthiers in Chicago, and they're wonderful, and they made an amazing amount of instruments just for the two of them working. But a lot of people, they had some great ideas for steel string guitars, and this guitar shows a lot. Somebody was their friend or was studying their stuff, and we don't know what this is, but it took me years to acquire this from
But Curtis is very persistent. He finally.
oh, I'm subtle.
Finally
though.
got
I only tried, really a couple of times a year, which for me is pretty subtle. But anyway, here is a song I should tell you about. Now, it's getting to be that time of year, and I know many of you out there are my kind of people. You are thrift store treasure hunters.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, thrift store treasure hunting is like where that meets... it's like perfect recycling. It's recycling with excitement, So I like to do my part for recycling. And if you go to the thrift store right before Halloween, like right now, many of them they save clothes all year, really interesting stuff, and they put it right in the middle of the store. And I think the concept is you're supposed to make your own individualized Halloween costume.
Right.
But I find like really great aloha shirts and all kinds of stuff. So Loretta knew this. Now, a few years ago, I bought at the Goodwill right before, it might have been Salvation Army, I can't say,
One of the two.
a top of the line, absolute professional 1940s big department store Santa Claus outfit. And I thought to myself, perfect for me. And I know we have high fashion listeners out there too. Could be perfect for you. So we live on a hill, and coming up to the house, there's two sets of steps. So on Halloween night, I took my biggest stuffed chair out, and I put all my candy in a white canvas laundry sack, and I put on my Santa outfit and went out there. And it was great because little kids would storm up that first set of steps with their bags and their buckets out, and they would get to that little level spot, and they would look up at me, and they would just freeze, and their jaws would drop, and they would approach me with reverence and awe. And, you know, before they could even say trick or treat, I asked them, well, have you been good this year? And they were in shock seeing Santa, and they all told the truth. They always said, well, not the whole time. And I said, well, you got plenty of time to get good because, you know, it's a while to Christmas. Besides, you told the truth. And so you can have a whole handful of candy.
Right. No, I heard that the teenagers weren't as in awe
Yeah,
of
if you do try it, the teenagers respond totally
They thought he
different.
was a little nuts.
So she wrote me a love song.
I wrote him this song called Santa Claus on Halloween. Hold the chicken, hold the meat, just serve him up whole wheat. Never try to trim his beard, scissors are his only fear. He waits on me like I'm a queen, he's Santa Claus on Halloween, he's one of a kind, a boy of mine. The world pulls at us from all sides, but he stands strong, listening inside. He likes love and honesty, he'll stand by you, he'll stand by me, he's one of a kind, that boy of mine. They can keep their ivy halls and the mega shopping malls. The junk store is his favorite place, Hawaiian shirts and a tweed suitcase. He doesn't own a suit or tie except one from 1895. He's one of a kind, a boy of mine. The world pulls at us from all sides, but he stands strong, listening inside. He likes love and honesty, he'll stand by you, he'll stand by me, he's one of a kind, a boy of mine. Take it there, boy. He doesn't text, but he is wise. He hates long goodbyes. He likes when you say what you mean and don't chatter on like a talk machine. Fashion doesn't mean a thing. He can't dance, but he sure can sing. He's one of a kind, a boy of mine. The world pulls at us from all sides, but he stands strong, listening inside. He likes love and honesty, he'll stand by you, he'll stand by me, he's one of a kind, that boy of mine. He'd give you his last dime, he works hard all the time. He likes deals and bartering, that's how I got my wedding ring. He can fix up our guitars, but not so much on a car. He's one of a kind, that boy of mine. The world pulls at us from all sides, but he stands strong, listening inside. He likes love and honesty, he'll stand by you, he'll stand by me, he's one of a kind, that boy of mine. He's one of a kind, that boy of mine. Oh, he's my rock, that boy of mine. There he is.
Oh, that's hard
yeah.
to sing.
You know, so you got to explain your guitar. And sometimes people ask me what kind of guitar this is, because there's no
where
name.
did you get that
There's no
guitar
name on the
anyway?
headstock. Some guy gave it to me. Some guy dressed up like Santa Claus one time brought this home, and this is made by Charlie Hoffman of Hoffman Guitars in South Minneapolis. The store is still there, right over on Franklin Avenue.
It's one of the very first of the new renaissance of luthiers,
Yeah.
starting about 1970.
Yeah, and he made great guitars. This is from 1973. Was it maybe his 11th guitar or something? Great sound, and I don't know if you can see on the screen all this beautiful mother of pearl inlay in the neck.
Lots of seashell stuff.
Yeah.
Poor me. See, I would have tried to get one with seashell stuff, So, but I knew I have good luck, I have to have a lot of luck just talking him out of this one. So.
Yeah, that peach
Else
is
I
a
would have
wonderful.
gone at one of those with seashell stuff on it,
Yeah, that peach is a wonderful guitar, though.
Wow. Let's do this one, okay?
All right.
All right. This is a song Loretta wrote, one of our old songs. Loretta wrote this for her dad, Cletus
dad.
Simonet. And he was born in the early 1900s, and it was a wonderful, hardworking, honest man that got us through World War II with his generation and the Great Depression. Now it's time for us to stand up and do our part and get us through this. But Cletus Simonet.
Cletus. Every night when supper was done, before we kids had a chance to run, my dad said, okay, we've got dishes to do. Mom cooked the food with a cleanup crew. So he stood at the sink and he washed each one. The rest of us dried till they were all done. But now a disease works in his brain. He's forgotten those children who carry his name. One day as I vacuumed, he watched me then said, you've done all the work, I've done nothing yet. So I got him a dust rag and he worked with me. He was still an example for this kid to see. If I think of all the things that I've lost, I can simply not bear the thought I am gone forever from his memory. He cannot do things he once did for me. But I watch my dad and who he is now, plagued by Alzheimer's still somehow. Through the confusion his soul shines through. He says, come anytime, we loved having you. At the end of the driveway in the old blue truck, he'd stop for a moment, the kids to instruct. He'd point a long finger down the road, first to the east, then the west, as he told. To the left is Stillwater, to the right is St. Paul. He taught us directions when we were so small. Now I drive my dad to the new Walmart. Once inside, he pushes the cart. I say, Dad, at the end of this aisle, turn right. But he just stops, his lips drawn tight. So I point for him, and we both turn that way. He says, I sure am lucky to be with you today. If I think of all the things that he's lost, I can simply not bear the thought I am gone forever from his memory, and I do the things he once did for me. But I watch my dad and who he is now, plagued by Alzheimer's still somehow. Through the confusion his soul shines through. He says, come anytime, we loved having you. He came to recitals, to hear me play piano. He came down to the basement to watch puppet shows. He drove to my college to see me in plays. 100 miles in the big Chevrolet. Do you have lots of bookings? He'd always say, you are so lucky I can sing for your pay. And now he doesn't know who I am. Maybe a relation, maybe a friend. I sit down at the piano and play over there. He sings along from his armchair. He says, where did you learn? And he claps for me. And then he keeps singing that one-time melody. If I think of all the things that we've lost, I can simply not bear the thought I am gone forever from his memory, and he cannot do things he once did for me. But I watch my dad and who he is now, plagued by Alzheimer's still somehow. Through the confusion his soul shines through. He says, come anytime, we loved having you. He says, come anytime, we love having you. It's for Cletus Simonet.
Short intro on this one.
Yeah, we're going to get Curtis to get out his clawhammer banjo, which Chris spoke of earlier.
Squeeze in a couple of more tunes here. Got it. We'll do this one. This is another Loretta Simonet song.
I think you're trying to say Simonet and song all in one word. That's pretty cool, though. I think that's me, too. We're going to do a song that I wrote about some real people.
I accidentally mentioned Wilmer before, and it is a little farm town in Minnesota. Actually, it's a pretty good sized farm town, kind of your typical farm town you might find anywhere. There's something rather extraordinary just spontaneously happened, and we used to say this happened back in '77, and young girls would come up to us and they would go, well, gee, things were pretty rough back then in 1877, but it actually happened in 1977, the first bank strike in the United States of America. And it was just 8 women that worked at the bank, and they had been passed over, never even offered any advancement. In 4 times, they worked there for years, and young men used to come in. They bring young men in, and they'd say to them, well, teach these guys.
Yeah, teach him all you know, train him in, then he'll be your manager. And they ended up, they found out they were getting paid, that he was getting paid twice as much as them. So they went into the bank president after the 4th time and complained, and Curtis plays the bank president in the song.
Typecast, yes.
But they didn't get any satisfaction there, so they formed their own union, their little union, and went out on strike. And I interviewed one of the women, Glennis Terwisha, who I mentioned in the song, and you'll see what happens at the end of the song.
So yeah, do a little study. Google the girls. We're called the Wilmer 8.
The Wilmer 8. Glennis heard the women talking in the vault one day. The bank just hired another man at nearly twice our pay. We're supposed to train him in and teach him all we know. Then he will be our manager just like it always goes. Wilmer was a little farm town, they weren't feminists. But this is just plain wrong, they said to that bank president.
We are not all equal, men need to earn more, so they can take girls out on dates.
His words just left them floored. Glennis and the other 7 formed their own union. In '77 and went on strike, it was Bank Local 1. Journalists and TV cameras came to investigate. In Minnesota, bitter cold, they were the Wilmer 8. From across the country, across the world, letters came from women and from girls. The whole globe is watching you. It's starting now to improve. You are doing this for all of us. Please don't stop, keep on, you must. We will sing, it must be told. We are all equal, you know. Glennis wore a snowmobile suit as she walked the line. Her eyelashes kept freezing shut, a record winter time. Snow nor rain nor summer heat now, nothing kept them down. Though lots of folks had given up, we want peace in this town. They survived on 5s and 10s from folks who wrote thank you. When Glennis was flat broke, she said, I don't know what I'll do. She put her head down in her hands and Terence said softly, well, I can help you out this week, next time it might be me. From across the country, across the world, letters came from women and from girls. The whole globe is watching you. It's starting now to improve. You are doing this for all of us. Please don't stop, keep on, you must. We will sing, it must be told. We are all equal, you know. Nearly 1 year and a half they walked the picket line. A judge ruled it was over and they lost in 79. A woman from another bank said it's better since your strike. Glennis said that we have won, you can't lose when you're right. Doris, Shirley, Sandy, and Irene, Glennis, Terence, Sylvia, and Jane. The whole globe is watching you. It's starting now to improve. You are doing this for all of us. Please don't stop, keep on, you must. We will sing, it must be told. We are all equal, you know. We are all equal, you know. Wilmer 8, or we are all equal, you know.
Yeah, we lost a great American today.
Talking about Ruth.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I believe.
Got to
yeah,
dedicate
Ruth,
a song like that to
Ruth
her.
Bader Ginsburg. Yeah, and you notice in that song the women lost their case, but really in a way they won. They forwarded the whole plight, the whole thing of women being equal. The wheels of justice and equality turned slowly, but they certainly advanced it, as did Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Amazing what she did.
So, we're going to end up with this traditional song because you got to have a sing along. I mean, especially these days. I mean, you know, I've been exercising more, which is good for me, but you should be singing along more too because that's exercise for like your mind and your heart. And so we're going to do an old song called "Hand Me Down That Walking Cane." This is a song from the 1880s, and we're going to dedicate this to a little bit. We'll dedicate it to Harry Byrne, but thing is, you know, when women, this is the 100th anniversary of women voting for the first time in this country. And the 19th Amendment, it boiled down to one state, Tennessee, and then it boiled down to one vote. You know, one vote would pass this amendment after years of struggle on so many people's parts. So we'll kind of dedicate it to Harry Byrne, who was that vote. He was being plied by all sides, plied with alcohol, plied with you know, obvious truth on the other. And so we'll kind of dedicate this to him, because the moral of this old ballad is, I should have listened to what my mama said And they asked him afterwards how he could do such a radical thing as let the 19th Amendment pass. He said, well, right before I went in to vote, I opened up a letter from my mother. And she said,
be a good boy and help the suffragists out. Vote yes. And so he listened to his mama and did just as she said.
so listen to what your mama says, and his mother's name was Feb. That's who we'll dedicate
Yeah,
this song.
F-E-B-B.
Thank you.
Feb.
And yeah, thanks so much. And we'll probably see you in a minute here.
Yeah, we'll end up and sing along. This is a call and answer song, so help us out. Hand me down my walking cane.
Hand me down, my walking cane, my walking cane. You got it.
Got it. Almost. Fix that one note.
Let's do it anyway. Now hand me down my walking cane.
My walking cane.
Hand me down
Hand me down
my walking cane.
my walking cane.
Well, hand me down my walking cane. I'm gonna ride that midnight train. All my sins are taken away. Now hand me down that jug of corn.
That jug of corn.
Hand me down
Hand me down
that jug of corn.
that jug of corn.
Well, hand me down that jug of corn. We'll have a time, sure as you're born. All my sins are taken away. I had too much,
I had too much.
and I went to jail.
And I went to jail.
Well, I had too much.
Well, I had too much.
And I went to jail.
And I went to jail.
Well, I had too much and I went to jail. And nobody came to go my bail. All my sins are taken away. Well, the beans was hard.
The beans was hard.
And the meat was fat.
And the meat was fat.
Well, the beans was hard.
Those beans was hard.
And the meat was fat.
And the meat was fat.
Well, the beans was hard and the meat was fat. Lord, I couldn't eat nothing like that. All my sins are taken away. Well, I wish I'd listened.
I wish I'd listened.
What my mama said.
What Mama said.
Well, if I listened.
If I listened.
What mama said.
What Mama said.
Well, if I listened what mama said, I'd be sleeping in a feather bed. All my sins are taken away. Everybody, hand me down
Hand me down
my walking cane.
my walking cane.
Hand me down
Hand me down
my walking cane.
my walking cane.
Well, hand me down my walking cane. I'm gonna ride that midnight train. All my sins are taken away. Yes, they are. All my sins are taken away. Listen to what your mama said.
Yeehaw.
All right, Curtis and Loretta. They're going to take a second to
All
get
right.
reconnected here. In order to avoid echo and feedback, we've all got to wear headphones and earbuds when we talk.
Hey, thank you, Chris.
Hey, wonderful
Thanks so
set.
much. It was fun
that was
for
a
us,
pleasure.
too.
Yes, indeed.
Lots of fun.
All right. So, those of you that are watching with us now, we're going to do what would normally be our break, and
Oh.
I have sliced my pie. This is difficult to show you. I have gooseberry pie. This is when any of you in the audience would love to do a live conversation with you. Simply type your comments in to the comment section of Facebook or YouTube, whatever you're seeing us on. They'll show up on our screen, and I will share these questions with Curtis and
All right,
Loretta
I'm going to grab our pie.
while
I
we
got it right
enjoy
after the segment.
pie.
I'll get
Now,
it. Hang on.
Do we
I
have
was going to say,
gooseberries?
you do that.
We don't have gooseberries. What are our berries out back? Mulberries.
We had
got
to order-
mulberries right in the yard. Yeah. We're having
Mulberries.
peach pie.
Yeah. We had actually, yes, I expected nothing less
Yes, indeed.
in honor of the peach guitar. Yeah, and boy, the
I did
peach
it with-
guitar sounded so cool. So, friends at home, please join in whatever dessert you have. I have gooseberry pie.
Curtis has both of our
Curtis
pieces
and
of pie,
Loretta
though.
have
Give
peach
me
pie.
one.
I believe. I,
I hope-
believe in. I, be-
Well, I'm not even a little bit
I
surprised at
believe in
that.
appropriate.
He's going to give me the smaller one, which is good. I want the smaller one here. There's a fork. Yeah, I actually baked the pie, but I only brought 2 pieces up here.
Yeah.
So, so we wouldn't be tempted.
Well, I pulled the whole pie up,
So
but then we
How's
cut off
your
a piece,
pie?
and the rest of the pie's back
Did
in
you
the
try
kitchen.
it yet?
Let's find out. Well, I did, but I'm not going to admit to that on camera.
I
I've
know.
never-
I know a bunch of you have been to Hickory Ridge Museum and to this concert series, which is so wonderful. But this is in honor of
Oh my!
just yet another thing that would be missing if our wife didn't cook it.
I've never
They
had.
have great desserts there.
I've never had gooseberry. pie. I don't think I've ever eaten a gooseberry even.
I actually had gooseberries in the old farm I used to live in, and I didn't know what they were at the time, and so I'm trying to write comments and
eat-
talk to you
and
at the
eat
same
pie.
time.
We're
Of
going to
course,
have to write a
I'm
new
gonna
etiquette
butcher the
book. It's
comments.
probably not good to chew pie too close to the microphone.
That's right.
Yeah.
Back up.
But it's so good. Maybe
Good
maybe
point.
it is a good sound. You know? I don't know.
Noshing.
No, let your wife talk.
No, there isn't. But to get back to the gooseberry pie, it's very tart. Louise, you were right about that. A friend of mine, Louise, commented when I mentioned gooseberry pie was going to be sour. I like a tart fruit pie, so it works for me. It has an unusual kind of flavor to it. There's just sort of I don't know how to describe it, but sort of a complexity to
Well,
the berry
It's a
flavor of it.
bouquet.
But it's
bouquet.
really, really
Like
delicious.
wine. It's a bouquet.
Yeah.
Is there some sugar in it though, or honey or something? There's some sweetener. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would. Yeah, there's sugar in it enough to cut the sourness.
Yeah.
But I always ask for a pie that isn't too sweet. So, hey Curtis, while we're sitting here talking, I've got the first question for you. One of our viewers asked, "Was that black stringed instrument a guitar?" Curtis was
That
first
is a
playing. It had a unique body.
mandocello.
I think he's
Mandolins are
talking
like
about the-
violins. And so the whole mandolin orchestra corresponds to the violin family. And so that is, she's going to grab it for me. I can probably grab her pie. Anyway,
I'll just put it on the
but,
camera here.
so that is a mando cello. It's tuned like a bowed cello. It has great big wound strings on it. You got to really squeeze on it when you play it. But I love the low notes, and it actually has the same low notes as her harp. So it's a lot of fun to kind of switch those back and forth. That's a mando cello. They kind of quit making them around the 20s,
Yeah.
you know. When I first bought one, you couldn't even buy strings for them.
And for
I,
Yeah, we actually had to spend quite a bit of time sound checking the cello or the mandocello and the harp because the tones are so similar. And when we do live streaming like this, there's pretty much a lot of limitations to
man,
what control
yeah.
we have over the sound.
you did a beautiful
But
job.
yeah,
Yeah, you
it
did.
sounded
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I noticed that the chef has joined in and indicated that the sweetener is in fact
I've heard of
sugar. Yeah. So, while we are waiting on some more questions, one of the things that I've always been interested in with you guys, I mean, you have a huge repertoire of music, from historic to original, and it seems like you're writing more and more original music these days.
Yeah, mostly I
Is
am.
that true?
Though Curtis has written some songs in the past, and I think you should start writing more songs.
Yeah.
Curtis.
Yeah, we've been leaning that way, but but we still love to go do a traditional festival, you know. I mean, like this summer, I think we probably lost 80 shows. I mean, some of them were, senior shows, but some of them were folk festivals
Yeah.
and big radio shows and stuff like
Concert
that.
series, yeah.
But
Sure.
yeah, and some of them were rendezvous, and we still love going and doing that, doing history
Yeah,
shows.
people aren't familiar with that. A rendezvous is like an early American festival, like reenactors, people dressed up like late 1700s into early
Yeah.
But
mid 1800s.
You start singing songs that are 150, even 200 years old, and you start writing songs, and you really still see the similarities. I mean, something 150 years old is this beautiful song, and you think it would not be relevant anymore, and But
Oh,
for
yeah.
better or worse, they just about always are. It's like the same stories, in slightly different styles. So yeah, we still love the traditional stuff too.
Well, I think you nailed you hit the head you nailed it with that. I think the themes of a lot of these songs are universal, whether they're taking
Timeless,
place
yeah.
in the 1700s or the 1800s or the 21st
Yep.
century.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of historic performing based around the Lincoln
Oh,
era,
yeah.
and when I recorded my album, Lincoln in Song, I brought in Nashville guys to do the backup parts. And the first day of the sessions, they were all like, "Why are you doing this old stuff?"
Right.
And by the end of the sessions, they were saying, "That's really beautiful music. I never
That's good
realized
stuff.
it."
Yeah. Great.
But,
It's timeless.
yeah, it very, very much is universal and timeless. Hey, we've got another question here. Mercedes would like to know, how did you two meet?
Ah.
It's got to
We,
be our Mercedes.
is it Mercedes Tuma?
It is.
Hi,
Yes.
Mercedes.
She
She's
knows
a-
what our rendezvous is.
Yeah, we've seen her at many rendezvous here in Minnesota.
We met
I thought everyone in the world knew this story already, so we don't always tell it. But
We met with great effort on my part.
okay, way back it was in '77, just like the Wilmer strike, the same year they went on strike. I'm from Minnesota, but I had gone out to Santa Cruz. I have a degree in theater from St. Cloud State, and I thought I'm going to go out to California, West Coast, and make it big in theater or music. But I had to have a job, so I was in Santa Cruz, and I had to, make a living. So I was working as a nurse's aide at a rest home, and I was on the beach one day practicing my guitar because I had a gig every Friday night playing in this variety show.
I just got off a sailboat from Hawaii.
He'd been in Hawaii.
Had a friend there. I was making bamboo flute, reaming off the bamboo. And I saw this girl walking down the beach with long hair flowing in the wind, carrying a guitar. And I gazed from a distance. My heart swole in my chest.
Jeez.
I was swelling.
I don't think that's a word.
And
Heart swole? You mean swolded.
I was swollen everywhere. And I was beaming my, and I thought, wow, cool guitar.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my memory is that I wasn't walking. I was sitting on like a driftwood log, playing my guitar, getting ready for the show that night, and this guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, I play guitar," and
Yeah,
I'm like,
but I watched you walk all the way down the beach and
you were
sit down.
stalking me.
No,
I didn't know that.
I didn't want to stalk you, so I waited till you
Wait till I
sat
sat
down.
down.
You can't stalk people when they're sitting down, can you?
And
Anyway.
I thought it's another, so every so often, guys would come up to you on the beach, go, "Hey, it's kind of risky to play your guitar on the beach if you're a young woman, because guys are going to come up to you and say, 'Hey, I play guitar.'" You weren't the first one that said that to me, Curtis. But he did play guitar. He ran back and actually got a mandolin and sat down next to me. And the first song we sang together was like, wow, these harmonies sound really good. We played like old 60s folk songs that
Yeah, I
we
was
both knew
in
in
love.
common. I think Suzanne was the first song we sang together. Leonard
So
Cohen.
after we
Leonard
played
Cohen.
together for 10 years, she finally married me.
But that night we went to the variety show, and so he came to the gig that night with me.
I have to thank you, Chris, because we were reading one of your blurbs on the internet, and I looked at it, I went, cool, I'm like 55. He said we've been playing together for 33 years. I went, cool.
Oh
Because
yeah.
it's been 43.
Yeah,
See,
it's
so
43
I thought,
years.
I probably stole that clip from a press
Yeah,
release from the 90s in your first
oh,
concert.
absolutely, yeah. But it made me feel great. It's like, wow,
I'm
cool,
only,
man.
boy, I got rid of 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Curtis and I, we played music ever since we met 43 years ago. It was the spring of 1977. And 10 years after we met, we got married. And but we've been playing music together the whole time.
Wow.
And we ended up back in
Wow.
Minnesota. We, after we met in California, we went to Texas for a while and Oklahoma. We went to Europe for 6 months. And we ended up back in Minnesota because I'm from here and I like it here. I have a lot of family
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. You ever hear
Well,
that
you
song,
guys-
the song, The Tennessee Waltz?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
About a guy who takes his best girl to the dance and his best friend cuts in and steals her away.
Yeah.
That's sad, isn't
That's-
it?
Kind of like what you did to the peach. I assume that's where you were going since you were
Yeah,
holding
that
the
was,
guitar.
it was.
You got it.
Well, one of the things I notice about your music is that you really focus on the power of song, and you write songs that address things like social justice through the issues of the women, The song that comes to mind is "When There's Good to Be Done, You Must Do It."
Oh yeah. About the woman that
you know-
donated a kidney to a little girl. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these are messages I think we need to hear right now, and you guys do such a good job with that.
Thank you. Yeah, we like songs with messages. Yeah, I always said for years I've said I don't like those crying in your beer songs. You know, things are so terrible. It's like, why even sing then? I'd rather not sing at all if that's what I had to sing.
Yeah.
Who needs salty beer?
Yeah. So, what are your plans for the next few months? I know you're actively engaged in live streaming now, and you're doing some performances in that format.
Yeah. We've got some other virtual shows coming up the end of September. We're doing, well, we were supposed to be on tour. We were going to go to Texas and then Missouri on the way home. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know. This is old news to you. I know. It's the same. But so some of those have turned virtual, and then we added a couple other things in. So it just happened. We got a whole bunch of things lined up with different libraries. And yeah. And a couple of those are going to be When There's Good to Be Done shows, which is a show where we do all the songs that I wrote about real people. Yeah, just focusing on that.
And I've seen you
heroes.
perform that show. It's a beautiful show. Very nice.
Yeah, just unsung heroes. You look around and it's amazing how many amazing people there are that you never hear about. And I feel like that's the real news we need to be hearing.
And for you singer-songwriters, really, these songs that she wrote were from actual interviews with people, and really, it's a great way to make great friends too. Do a project. Just go meet somebody that did something extraordinary, came through something better than you could have ever imagined, and ask them how they did it, and write a song about it. It's a wonderful.
Yeah, we've become good friends with a lot of these people, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any other questions here, but we still have our entire audience with us.
Oh, cool. Yay.
Which is a wonderful thing. So let me take just a moment here to thank you guys.
Can I just ask one question before you do that?
Oh, I wasn't going to let go of you.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I want to ask one question. Are you going to finish that pie?
No, you can have it.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm a really slow eater. I'm only half done with my piece of pie. I'm really slow.
I'm about 2/3, but
we're talking too.
There's still lots on my plate. All right, do your thing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to thank everybody. Pitch our next show, but then I'm wondering, while I do that, you guys, could you think of maybe one more song to do to wind us up?
Oh, sure.
We weren't really expecting to do this, but so many people have stuck around. We're delighted to have that. Somebody just said, sounds great from Western Wisconsin. We love you guys. Thank you for playing Santa Claus on Halloween.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah. So if anybody has a request for the final Curtis and Loretta song, get it in now.
Yeah, as long as it's not a crying in your beer song, because we don't like
we'll probably just do what we want to anyway.
Yeah, and I'll just, whatever it is, I'll say, well, that's exactly what they just asked for. Amazing.
The job of an MC.
Curtis is going to get out another instrument that we didn't get out yet.
Okay. While he's doing that, let me take a moment to thank several people. We want to thank, and I'm going to mute you guys so you can go ahead and tune.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There you go. So thanks to the Two Rivers Arts Council, which is the Western Illinois Regional Arts Council, the Illinois Arts Council Association, our state's Arts Council, and the National Endowment for the Arts. A grant from Two Rivers, which is supported by all of these other agencies, literally kept our series alive and is why we're able to try and evolve into the live stream format. This will go on until we're able to actually get back to Dixon Mound safely. And we're going to consider the possibility of still streaming after that, but we'll see. There's a whole lot of very complicated stuff involved in all of that, especially from a distance. So you can support the series. There is a donation link in the description section. You can also send checks to P.O. Box 144 in Macomb, Illinois. And I think that's pretty much everybody I have to thank. A special thanks to Heather Wickens, who was technical advisor here, to Dory Valillo, who was chef extraordinaire for this amazing pie that I get to finish. And let's bring Curtis and Loretta back and see what we've got to wind things up. All right. You guys with us?
Yeah.
We're here.
There's so many resources, so many things to be shared on this earth, in this country, that it just doesn't seem like it ought to be that hard for everyone to be much happier than not. So we're going to end up with a hopeful song. Our nominee for the world anthem, an old Louis Armstrong song called When You're Smiling. So smile
beautiful.
along.
Yeah, you know this, so help us sing, everybody. And Curtis is going to play the National Steel Ukulele, and I'm going to play. Did you know I could play a trumpet? No, it's really a kazoo. It's a kazoo. Curtis found this. He finds the wildest things. It's actually a kazoo mouthpiece and shakers.
Smiling, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you, yeah. When you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you can bring out the rain. When you're smiling, you'll be happy again. But when you're smiling, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. Take it, such a move. Everybody now. When you're smiling, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, when you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you can bring out the rain. When you're smiling, you'll be happy. When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. Yeah, that's true. When you're smiling, when you smile, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you.
Keep on smiling.
It's a powerful thing.
All right, beautiful. Very, very nice. All right, that is our show for tonight. Thank you for being with us for our premiere performance of Hickory Ridge Concerts live stream. Next month, the 17th of October, we're going to feature Ordinary Elephant. This is a wonderful duo. I believe they're husband and wife, and they were the 2018 Folk Act of the Year through Folk Alliance International. They performed for us at Music at the Museum, and it's a wonderful, wonderful show. Hope you can join us for that one. Any thoughts, Curtis and Loretta, before we say goodbye to everyone?
Yeah, those guys are great. We've heard them at a Folk
Yeah.
Alliance conference. They're really good. We'll tune in for sure.
Well,
Everybody
hey,
just take care of each other. That's my thought.
Yeah.
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 Well, you know, I think it's so important that we stay connected. I think that's exactly what we need to do. We need to be taking care of one another and thinking about how we can support one another in these hard times. This is going to go on for a while, but we will do fine if we work together. You know, help your neighbors out, help your friends out, and it's going to work out. We can do this.
Absolutely, and hallelujah.
Amen. So
Yeah.
Thank you, friends, for joining us. Thanks to Curtis and Loretta. We're going to wind up our live stream now, and I'm going to leave it posted over the weekend so that folks can go back and see it or share it if they didn't get the opportunity to do so. And I believe that's everything we've got to worry about right now. Donations at the PayPal link at the top. Thanks, everyone, for coming in. Thanks, Curtis and Loretta.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chris.
Catch you down
Thanks,
the road.
everybody. Thank you, Chris.
Bye-bye, everyone.